Hello, welcome to AB Lifetime, channel on transpersonal psychology. I'm Anna Bobikova. The topic of our video today is becoming strong in the global crisis. This is part 1. I would like to address this video to the positive outcomes. There are many negative videos focused on unclarity and uncertainty of this situation. So I would like to address what right now in the situation of global instability, what each of us, each individual can find as a resource and use the situation to become stronger, become wiser, and overcome this crisis as much positive as possible.
This feels like something very foreign and scary to you. This feels like something that's very threatening.
Sometimes it is from horror movies from childhood. Sometimes it's with some weird information from grandmother from Great Depression from 1930s. By the way, if we would be doing the group right now, I would ask, so when the reality is that there is nothing to rely on.
Consider also that it's an opportunity to explore some things about yourself.
It definitely looks like no one in the world in this present situation is not going to avoid and be outside the situation. Everyone in the world will be touched by this situation in that or that degree. I understand that this video will be watching people from different parts of the world, which means different even situations, like some people get exposed to the virus, some relatives get exposed to the virus, some people are older, some people are younger. So there are very different people on different stages of acceptance this situation. So I would try to cover everything possible, and I would try to do it as fast as possible. I would try to keep the video short and cover every possible stage which people can be on, right? And again, my focus is for each of us to find the resource. So focus for you, viewer, is to find the resource, to be able, this video is addressed for you to find your resource in this situation. No matter what age you are, what country you are in, if you are infected by the virus or not, right? It's all about it's addressed to you, one individual. Video structure. What do we face in these days? By the way, today is March 21st, 2020. So I will name exactly what's happening today, name the reality. There is a lot of things happening at the same moment, and we need to name them just to face them. It is very hard to absorb and accept the reality because it's just too much happening. It also happens suddenly and unexpected. So a little moment about anxiety. Usually anxiety is coming up from unclear, uncertain things. When there is a picture and in the picture there are pieces missing of information, then brain starts to work and produce to fill in the gaps with whatever is there in consciousness or usually unconsciousness. So the brain pick up the pieces, and that's why the anxiety coming, because it start to draw very often very like dark and scary pictures. Second one, emotional consequences. So we will be talking about what are psychological. This is what happens. And this is what happens inside me as a reaction to external events, right? What do we feel as human beings in a return on what's happening externally? Like what is internal representation of what's happening externally. Next one, my favorite. Number 3, what to do. Self-help tips to keep sanity, find balance, and even thrive during this present situation. And of course, find internal resource for that. And it will be 2 action explorations demo. I use their psychodramatic techniques. So it's actually explorations which would help you to do the same and find your inner resources. So what do we face these days? What's the reality? It is important to not to avoid the reality, to see the picture. If individual do not see the reality, avoids the reality, then he cannot move forward, right? The first step is acceptance, right? Understanding, yes, this is happening, this is what's happening, and yes, I'm accepting that. The reality is there is the virus, there is the disease, and it is very contagious. It sounds like most of the majority of the people will get it or already got it or even already passed it, the virus, and got the virus in the nearest past. The reality is that there are the groups of risk, mostly older people. In these groups, the death rate is much higher than, for instance, in younger people groups. There is all countries are working together or separately, but they all came up with the idea of quarantine in order to prevent the collapse of medical system. So the curve is supposed to be like this, and they are trying to make the curve like this, right? Lower it, make it slower, make it like extend the disease to make it not collapse the medical system. The truth is there are already economical serious consequences, and they are going to increase. Small businesses stop to work, large businesses have a big danger stopping work. Of course, it means lots of bankruptcies, it means lots of losses of jobs, lowering the income, inability to pay bills. This is all reality. The collapse of financial markets. And reality is that at this moment, on March 21st, 2020, nobody knows when it's going to end. This is the reality and uncertainty of this day today. There are different prognoses on that, but no facts. And there is no exactly the same situation in the world history. So there is nothing to rely. There are only like different hypotheses on that. Reality is nobody knows what's going to be tomorrow, 1 week later, 1 month later, half year later, and so on. We named it, and this is what's going to happen. Please, if you have some more ideas what I didn't name, what are reality, what are the facts, only facts and reality, please write it down in the comments below. All right, emotional response. So first thing is fear and anxiety as a response to what's happening externally. So people are uncertain what's going to happen with their health, up to many people afraid to die. With job, with the income, people are unsure if they will able to pay their bills, so financial stability. People are unsure about relationship because right now they have to stay at home and face a lot at home in their relationship. Fear of infection, fear of being mishandled by medical system, and all state system. People are afraid of their close ones and their health. And as I mentioned already, when you are uncertain about something, so the your brain tries to fill in the gaps. When there is not enough information, it kind of sucks in any possible information to fill in the gaps. And where it just takes the information from different resources. Very often from unconsciousness. It happens unconsciously, and very often it's from childhood, from traumatic sources, and then traumatic events. It might be like horror movies, everything what kind of can fill in the gaps. That's what get into empty spaces in the picture. So sometimes it may be very logical and very rational. Sometimes it is from horror movies from childhood. Sometimes it's with some weird information from grandmother from Great Depression from 1930s. Odds and ends of something to fill it in and not to keep it unknown. Next thing, what we face, of course, is isolation. Two most important aspects of isolation first is facing myself. So most of people unprepared to be with self for that long period of time. Not ready, not prepared, like panicking, oh my God, what I'm going to do. This is all the signs like people are not ready to spend the time with self. And second thing, of course, if people are not alone at home with their relatives, people are unprepared and anxious about being together, stuck together in the closed environment for a long period of time with spouse, relatives, children, and face the reality, conflict, and reality of relationship. Reality and very often problems in relationship. Or afraid to build up problems in relationship. Another fact is that people are getting depressed, people stop to move, life slow down, and people get into depressive states, right? I won't say that get into depression, but definitely start to feel more depressed. And the chaos, instability, this all supports this depressive states, right? And fearing, anxiety, of course, they are not helping to get better. So also people feel like they are unclear what they can rely on. State, relatives, spouse, boss, company, president, country, like nothing to rely on. By the way, if we would be doing the group right now, I would ask, so when the reality is that there is nothing to rely on, what would you rely on? Please take a minute and answer this question. Like, it will be your internal answer for yourself. And this would be first resource which we found today. There is something still to rely on. And it's important for you to find your own resource. So also, of course, everybody can complain on loss of control over everything. And it happens suddenly, very fast. A loss of control over work situation, over money situation, over health situation, over relationship. No control. All plans collapsed. It's very difficult to plan right now. Impossible, certain things it's impossible to plan. This is reality on all levels, from buying toilet paper, which is our favorite in our days, having weddings, children, getting education, buy houses, everything, all these plans collapsed. I think I named the main thing which are popping up as our emotional response to the situation. If you have something in your mind which I didn't name, please write it down in the comments below. Third part, my favorite, about resources, of course. So there are resources in this crisis for everybody. So the most important, just to be able to narrow and to focus on your resources. And this part is about that, how you can find your jewel in this environment, how the crisis can be resourceful. So first thing, what is important to remember about the crisis? Crisis is always about something. Crisis is about, it cannot continue to be like that. It needs to be changed. Crisis is always about crisis and recovery. Crisis and recovery. So after crisis, it's always recovery, with the resource from the crisis and previous experience. And if you look on the world history, it's always after each crisis, war, virus, any like collapses, like world collapses, there is always recovery. With losses, with new experience, with wiseness, but it's always recovery. New reality, new me, new possibilities, new horizons. Crisis is always kind of the movement down and then up, always. Another model which I would like to mention here, and I think it is very important to kind of look at the situation from the perspective of this model. So it is 5 stages of grief of Kubler-Ross model. Please, if you do not know what I'm talking about, please Google it. I won't, just to save time in this video, I won't explain this model. I will just name the stages, and they are denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance. First question I would like to ask you, please take a minute, pause the video, take a minute and think of that part of the world where you live at this moment when you are watching the video. Where is your environment, your people in your neighborhood, your city, your country, regarding this situation which is happening right now in the world with this virus. And then take another minute and think about where are you in these 5 stages of grief regarding yourself. It is very possible that you will find out yourself that the situation can go back and forth, and because there are many things are happening. For instance, if the situation is somebody could get virus, like really infected right now at this moment, and lost the job, and it happened not at the same moment, a different moment. So in the grief stages, you can be in the different moments regarding different events, and you can go back and forth, but it is still important to understand that you are going through these stages. And most of people, why I'm bringing here this model, because it feels for me that most of people have losses, have grief over something, losing job, losing hopes, losing possibilities, getting sick. Some people lost relatives, have losses, like real losses. Then it might be a situation that losses of income, all this stuff. So, and it is important when there are so many things are happening, it is important to understand and accept, yes, there are these 5 stages of the grief, and you can go back and forth with something, with loss of the job. You are, for instance, already in depressive stage. For instance, you already accepted, okay, I was angry the boss, and right now you are at depression stage, and then I don't know, there is a possibility you are afraid that husband got the virus, but you are not sure, and you are at shock and denial, right? So it's important to understand that. I decided not to talk about slowing down when we were naming the emotional responses to the situation. But this is reality, that everything slows down, and most of people in our world have the problems to face slowing down. Suddenly you were working and kids and everything like this, fast, like this. And suddenly everything slows down. You don't know what's going to happen, nothing to do. Some people lost the job. Right now it's not the best time to search for the job, and it's everything just slow. And I decided not to talk about slowing down as a problem, and I decided to talk about this only as a resource, even though most of people are afraid of this. I would like to make an exercise with you, and you will see the demo we did with Paul. I will introduce you to Paul. There are 2 chairs, and you switch the chairs. It's psychodramatic method, action exploration. So you switch the chairs, so you will need to have 2 chairs. So my one important moment, which I would like to tell you before we start to do this, is as soon we are taking slowing down as a resource for Paul. As soon as you feel like when you will be switching and when you go to your slowing down resourceful figure role, as soon as you sit there and you feel like you are negative toward yourself, you are not a resource, you are not going to help, you want to, something different, like negative, be negative and play negative role, then it means that it's not good time for you to do this exercise. We are looking for resource for yourself, and you are taking that role only if you can stay in that role of resource to yourself. If not, if you feel there are something like, no, there are some signs of blaming, no, then just stop and don't do that. And let's watch the exercise, the demo. I would like to introduce you, Paul. Paul agreed to be a model for the demo. So we are going to do, this is actually the demo for individuals who are at home and are looking for resources. And it is the demo of action exploration. Actually, it's psychodramatic. So I'm trying to show you what you can do by yourself. You do not need me there. We will just, here are 2 people, Paul and me. You will hear me, but you can do everything what Paul does without me there, with 2 chairs. So I would like to do this demo about slowing down, because right now I hear from a lot of people, they are complaining on slowing down, like nothing is happening, and the complaint is, I don't know what's going to happen, and I would like to do a lot, but I cannot, like I actually stuck and I cannot do anything, and that's what it's like brings a lot of anxiety and stuff. And I asked Paul if it's your thing, right, or not. I was not sure if it is the issue right now. And Paul,
yeah, absolutely my thing.
Yeah. Okay.
Just 100% go every day. Something happens, there's a solution, let's start working on the solution, and you can't even work on a solution right now. There's no solution. There's no one to call, there's nothing to do.
So, and today is March 21st, 2020. Could you please say, how do you feel today? What's happening?
Well, like millions of other people, I'm sitting at home. There's nothing happening. Nothing. I've had some conferences and things like that on the phone and on the computer, but everything is stopping. And it feels very strange. It feels, I don't know about financial things. I don't know about health things. It's like, I do want to do things, but I just have to sit here. And I've never felt this in my life.
Like helpless. Actually.
Helpless and
like
directionless. Completely directionless.
Loss of control.
Yeah.
So my suggestion is this video, I planned this video to do, this demo to do about the resource of this slowing down. So we discussed with you before video that you would like to
Sure.
make a research. Okay, so here you are, Paul, on March 21st, 2020. And on this chair, I would invite you to be this, your slowing down figure, this image or this character, this object, or this some power which is slowing down everything.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and when you sit in this chair, then you will be this figure. Could you please give the name for this figure? How we would call this?
Hidden blessing.
Hidden blessing?
Yeah.
Ah, okay. All right. So do you already know from there that that there is
A little bit.
Okay, all right. Okay. Okay, and I would invite you to take the seat of hidden blessing. Hello, hidden
Hello.
blessing.
Hello.
Hello. How are you?
I'm great.
You're great. Could you please say something about you?
My power is to show people sort of an alternative reality, if you will, that there's things that aren't obvious in life, and they sit in front of you, and there's opportunities that you don't realize.
So you are here today for Paul. Could you please say your message to him?
Sure. This feels like a very negative thing. This feels like something very foreign and scary to you. This feels like something that's very threatening. There's a lot of unknowns. Consider also that it's a opportunity to explore some things about yourself, to finally sit and think without a lot of other things in your head. Invest in yourself, meditate, and do things for yourself. Take advantage of this. It's a huge opportunity.
And could you please say exactly about this slowing? It's like, what is this slowing for Paul?
Well, Paul, you live in a rat race. You live in the United States of America, and you do business, you do different things. Every day is frantic. Every day is move, move, move. Every day is staying ahead of the next person. This is an opportunity to see something different. This is something that is a blessing. It's a blessing. There's no other scenario that is possible really to put you in this place. And it's okay to be in this place because everyone else is in this place. You don't have any guilt. Everyone's here.
Okay, and I would like to invite you there. Okay, you are back in Paul in March 21st, 2020.
Right.
And if it would be in the group, or it would be the counseling session, then I would be repeating for Paul the message. But because I'm showing this so you can do it by yourself, I'm not repeating. So when you are in this chair, you are talking from this role to yourself there, and then you get back and receive this message from here.
So I hear what's being said. And it may take me a bit to really accept that and wrap my mind around that. But it does make me feel peaceful to think that way. It makes me feel okay because as a person in business, as a person that's always been competitive and aggressive with things, I feel like I have permission to slow down, look at myself, and everyone has to do this now. We really don't have a choice, so it's okay for me to do it. So that's a big deal to me. That's something that maybe I should take this on in my regular life, but it's a good opportunity now to do this. That's the way I feel about it.
Mm-hmm. So I'm just, when you are this very obvious conversation here, so I'm just thinking, to be more narrow, do you think it would be helpful for you to get like really directions for this slowing down? What would be helpful for you to do?
Yes. Yeah.
Do like
yeah, because absolutely.
Okay. To accept this slow, like, what would be the question? So ask the question from here. Ask the question.
So I need to know specifics. I need to know things that I can do. Some ideas. What can I do? What does this mean?
Okay. Hidden blessing again. Mm-hmm. You heard what Paul is asking you.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So there's different things you can do to invest in yourself that will actually help you in what you do in the future. To maintain your own sanity, meditation. Take on meditation. Get healthier with your movement, your exercise. Be more frequent with it. Learn some things. Read some books. When's the last time you read a book? When's the last time you taught yourself something? These are the sorts of things that you can do, that you have an opportunity to do, to invest in yourself now.
All right, and take it in, the message from Hidden Blessing.
So it does feel very peaceful and very good to realize that, it's either sit here and do nothing or do this. And while doing nothing sounds good for a few days, maybe I'll go crazy if I do nothing. So these are good ideas. These are good things. And I definitely will do this.
Thank you, Paul, very much for agreeing to to participate in this demo. Thank you. Mm-hmm. So, if we take slowing down as resource, how it can serve us? It is the best time for summarizing and understanding what works, what doesn't, to understand what I like, what I don't, understanding what I generally want. Sometimes planning long term. Slowing down is a great time for the beginnings of things which you were thinking about for a long period of time and never started. Great time for self-development, educational stuff, starting to learn new. It's exactly the time to start things which you were thinking about for a long period of time and never could start. In slowing down, there are many processes becoming possible. For instance, you can slow down and notice right now very little subtle things. Write them down. For instance, you woke up depressed, feeling bad, no energy, you don't want to do anything. And then try to notice during the day what gives you energy. There will be little subtle things. Like, you walked a little bit, started to feel better. You listened to something, started to feel better. Little things. It's not big things, just little. You heard bird, you heard your wife told you something. Notice that. And these things, and write them down. This is the time to write down, to notice, to understand, and to explore yourself. This is what slowing down about also as a resource. It's very important to pay attention to subtle things.